So welcome back to my channel. As always, I hope you're doing absolutely amazing. Today on the show, y'all, I am frustrated with California, and I'll explain why in just a few minutes here. So sit back, relax, and turn that check engine light off. California is screwing up again. Now, in addition to you being required to have a new truck, now you have to go through an annual smog check. And if you're a company driver, well, it goes without saying. If your check engine light comes on, your safety is now being threatened. Here's how. Let's say you're going down the road and suddenly your check engine light comes on. For no apparent reason. Out of the blue. Because some sort of computer or other device has malfunctioned in your truck. I've had this happen lots of times before. And the majority of the time, the companies now say either take it back to a terminal or get it to safety. That sounds well and good. At least here in Texas. And in other states as well. Most of the time in the emissions regulations for these states that are being written, they have an exemption that lets you get to safety if your check engine light suddenly comes on. California has just trumped that exemption. Now, all diesel vehicles have to be smog checked every 2 years, have information put into a database that is shared, and, worse yet, it's now illegal for you to drive with a check engine light on. Here's the implication. If you're driving in California on a 2-lane road with no shoulder, such as California Highway 58, for example, now you're always in danger of getting shut down. Not from the altitude, not from bad fuel, but from an officer who has no business shutting you down. Okay, it gets even worse. In California, if you pull over on a shoulder because your check engine light's illuminated, now an officer has grounds and probable cause to check your truck. Which, by the way, isn't really probable cause because you didn't commit a crime. Think about it. Did you murder somebody? Did you steal from somebody? Or did you injure somebody? Or vandalize their stuff? When your check engine light comes on, you're not doing any of that. You're not hurting anyone. So, California, you got to get this fixed. I'm looking up info on your new diesel laws right now. Because by 2020, if your check engine light's on, or if you run a truck that's older than year 2000, you have to replace it. So, but how are they going to tell your vehicle's a new one or not? Because there's so many different configurations, the only way they can tell is by checking your license plate. Now here's the info on these laws. 2 bills signed into law last week by California Governor Gavin Newsom will further crack down on heavy-duty diesel trucks in the state. One law establishes smog checks for trucks to register or operate in the state, while the other is designed to accelerate the move away from diesel-powered vehicles. The heavy-duty emissions inspections and maintenance program is now being established also. This new law allows for the use of a laptop equipped with software to connect to your truck and its onboard diagnostic system to test emissions. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. The new testing will be much more in-depth than the periodic smoke inspection program. And, even worse yet, it's going to be trouble for out-of-state truck owners. The new law also requires CARB to establish a way for out-of-state truck owners to verify compliance before they enter the state. You know what? And now, here's where the kicker comes in. If your check engine or malfunction indicator light is on, it's now illegal in California. And worse yet, they've passed another law that requires diesel fuel to be completely banned in California by 2050. Yeah. So no more driving a diesel truck out in California. So, what happens if your check engine light suddenly comes on out there? Well, now you've only got one option. That's to pull over or otherwise seek a safe place and get it towed to a dealer. This scares me, because a lot of the roads in California have no shoulders. And in any case, it's illegal to park on a shoulder for any length of time for any reason. So now they just gave themselves a catch-22. Now in some states, like Illinois for example, they'll actually have a cop come out and check on you if you're pulled off on the shoulder to make sure that you've got rescue coming. I'm not sure if California does this or not. But in any case, it gives an excuse for a dumb officer to pull out his laptop, hook up to your truck, and download all that diagnostics data just because you are pulled over. Worse yet, they can also check you in the truck stops. And worse yet, all of this is in violation of the federal Constitution of the United States. That's right. This is all unreasonable search and seizure. Let me look up that amendment in the Constitution right quick. And I think it's called the Fourth Amendment. Let me just double check though. Fourth Amendment simplified. Fourth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures and requires a search warrant to be judicially sanctioned and supported by probable cause. Driving a big truck is not probable cause, even though California thinks otherwise. So now, this particular law is likely to be fought in the courts. And all those medical associations that backed it. Diabetes, heart, lung. They're all in on this. It's time you take a stand as a driver. It's time to get California busted under the Fourth Amendment. Because they passed a law that violates the Constitution. Them hooking up a computer to your truck is unreasonable search and seizure. Because driving a big truck is not probable cause, because you did not commit a crime when your check engine light came on. California, you have to fix this now. You either put a clause in the law that allows the driver to get to a safe place, or you just dump the law. It's that simple. I'm Zach Bell. I'm a trucker out of Texas. Now that it's illegal for me to operate in California unless all my warning lights are blanked out and everything is just reset, and you have the ability to do an unreasonable search and seizure on any truck just to verify compliance with this new law, I have reason to tell drivers to stay out of your state permanently. You are no longer to take your truck into California, no matter it's a pickup truck or a large commercial vehicle, until there is a method for out-of-state drivers to verify compliance, and until there is a method to make sure that the driver can get to a safe place without having to call a wrecker if the check engine light comes on. Let's stay out of California, and until next time, make your next trip your best trip. Thank you to the channels that notified me to this, by the way. Trucking Answers and Mark, your host over there, I really thank you, because you started us off with the right info. And I'll link to your channel in the show notes. And for the other sources, I've had to look it up on sites like Simple English Wikipedia, as well as the actual Constitution of the United States, and the articles on the San Jose Mercury News and on the Commercial Carrier Journal websites. I am very frustrated that California has had to resort to this measure to clean up pollution from China and India. California, you need to go over there and help them straighten their emissions out by getting their laws corrected in China and in India, because they have some of the most polluted cities in the world, and unlike you, they're not doing anything about them. So go over there and help them straighten their problems out once we get this law figured out. And by we, I mean you in the state of California. Oh, and if you want to stop laws like this from getting passed, there's an easy way to do it. If you live in the United States and have a CDL, you also have the ability to vote. So contact your state election authorities, demand new people in office, and whenever there's an election, go out and vote. Let's make your next trip your best trip. Get these dirty politicians out of office, and if you are getting a run to California, spend some time reading that owner's manual and finding out, because if a warning light comes on, you have no course of action at this point if you go out there. You're always in danger, and I just cannot stand you if you stand to run out there. I've had to run out there myself, and in addition to the earthquakes, floods, fires, and everything else that happens out there, now it's this. I don't ever want to see a truck in California again. At least in my world. But that being said, if you have to go out there, make sure that all your ducks are in a row. Make sure that you have no warning lights on. Make sure you have your seatbelt on. Make sure you have no reason to give an officer an excuse to pull you over. And get a copy of the Constitution, carry it with you, and if that officer is dumbfounded when you say Fourth Amendment, you pull out the pocket Constitution and you read it to him. Because that's what California is doing, is they're giving you unreasonable search and seizure just because you drive a big truck. Let's be safe. And let's stay out of California if you can help it for the time being. Bye for now.